this is another one of those moments where it's like, where were you when NHL came to Utah?
You're listening to the UTalk Hockey Podcast with your hosts Champ and Denz. What is up, UTalk Hockey Nation? We are back with another episode of the UTalk Hockey Podcast. I'm Champ, this is Denz, and we got a good one for you today. Hey, that's actually like Steve Harvey. Boy, do we got a good one today. We got Denz over here and Champ over here. Anyway, we do got some good stuff. So I mean, the only thing we wanted to bring up before we actually jump into our segments is the countdown. Yeah. We should just have a running clock on our website that shows this is how long until the regular season.
Or you just post a few times a day. 41 days, 12 hours. 41 days, 5 hours. But we are at 41 days to the puck drop on October 8th.
It's going to be super exciting.
We're going to blink. It's here. We're just about starting preseason. I was about to say preseason workout.
If some of you got vouchers, if some of you got vouchers, apparently there's been some issues with those, but now's the time to cash in on those.
Yep. So the vouchers are, as most people suspected, for the obstructed views.
Sorry. They're free.
You'll see the other 2/3 of the ice.
Yeah, exactly.
But they are live. They're working. We secured a couple tickets, which we are going to be giving away. You'll learn about that on our posts online. But it's just being there on September 23rd at the preseason game and feeling the vibe out for the very first time. Sure,
wearing
it's not an
our
official
swag.
game. Yeah. So keep a watch out for that. The other thing is, before we get started, a lot of you are watching, but you aren't subscribing. So if you want to be reminded of when our shenanigans drop every week,
make sure you
got to
subscribe.
subscribe.
But, Denz, we have nearly 500 subscribers on YouTube.
We do.
So thank you to all the subscribers, because I just took a look at it, and a week ago it wasn't at that number. So there's more listeners. We appreciate you. We're glad that you're enjoying the content. We're just going to keep doing it.
And you 500 are like the loyal listeners, because we've been in off season.
We have been in the off season, so you stuck around.
This whole podcast series has been in an off season of a new team.
That's right.
Like, stuff hasn't even happened yet. So
it's true.
Thank you for being early subscribers to the podcast. And once the season gets started, it's just going to be a lot more fun.
It's going to be so much fun. All right. Let's jump into Off the Post. We only have one news item to go over, so here we go. Dude, you know what we should do? You know the eating of the hot wings while you're talking? We should do a podcast episode of that.
So I actually had this thought the other day. I was just like, some of the season's going to get pretty busy of trying to record back here on one of the nights when 2 nights during the week you and I might be up at the Delta Center. So what if we just parked right outside the Delta Center,
did a live show,
live and or just record?
Yeah.
Right, and then we bring the hot wings because it's going to be frigid outside. So we need the hot wings and the show. Delta Center.
Extreme hot, extreme cold does not mix, dude. You basically can have a heart attack. That's what I hear. Hot wings in the cold? No, I'm kidding. That's not. Don't fact check me on that. It's completely wrong. Okay, let's jump into our only news item of Off the Post, because there isn't a lot of news happening right now. The team's just preparing. There's your news. You're welcome.
Yep.
But we actually recently saw that the Utah Hockey Club head coach is in early running for the Jack Adams Award. So, Denz, what is the Jack Adams Award before we talk about why he's in the running?
Well, first off, real quick, it's Vegas odds.
You're right.
Saying this, so that's pretty valid for Champ here.
Yeah. I always go with the best odds. And if he's in the top 10, that's pretty good odds.
Yeah. So, anyways, but real quick, what is the Jack Adams Award? So this shouldn't be a surprise to the community because he's been a head coach 4 years during the rebuild. There's been a lot of patience.
It's been around.
There's been a lot of key things happening. But here's what it is. And I just lost it.
I got it right here.
Okay, go for it.
The Jack Adams Award is awarded annually to the National Hockey League coach adjudged to have contributed the most to his team's success.
Perfect.
So you have this guy, Andre. He's been running it for 4. Now he has the new Utah Hockey Club uniform, and he's going to be coaching a team that he knows well. But now there's definitely some new faces. And that actually plays into the factor as why Vegas suggests he's in the top 10 running now. With the moves they made during the draft and in the offseason, the signings, the trades, all of that plays into this idea of him making the top 10 potential coaches in the NHL to win the Jack Adams Award. Which, I mean, you got guys like Sergachev, Marino, bringing back some key players, and then having such a young core, and then a guy like Clayton Keller. There's a lot of excitement around the team, a great team of players that are young, but there are some vets now, players that have been around for a while. So it's just a good mix for Andre to potentially get this award, which would be super cool. So anyway, that is the one news item that we had to give you this week, because everything else is just, they're practicing. They're getting into training camp soon, and preseason begins middle of September. Or what?
We're less than a month away from
that.
that.
We're less than a month away, 3 weeks away.
September 23rd at the Delta Center against the Los Angeles Kings. Yeah, we're 3.5 weeks out from that. So really, to start watching some hockey, preseason is starting even sooner.
Hasn't it felt like ages?
It has.
Since that happened in April?
For any hockey club, any team has gone through crazy off seasons. Obviously, the Utah Hockey Club has gone through the most dramatic change, and not just the nature of the change. They've had probably the busiest, craziest off season compared to any NHL team, and there's obviously a reason why. But
dude, I got some chirps today in Chirping with Champ that is all about that very concept.
Okay, we got to wait. Before we dive in, okay, we're doing the Puck of the Week.
Yes.
So, Puck of the Week, here we go.
Woo!
It's time to announce the Puck of the Week.
I'm so sorry.
There it is.
There's the Puck of the Week.
Oh, wow.
Or it's the puck.
Man, that's really smelling today.
Well, it smells like a hockey puck. That's hold it up.
Smells like burnt rubber.
It's a puck. It's made of that.
I've just never whiffed. Anyways, I have whiffed on the ice, but
that is accurate. We're actually joining the D League this season, and it starts
night.
Well,
tonight
while we're recording.
Yeah.
And we're playing apparently the best team in the D League, so it's going to be exciting. See it peaks at 10 p.m.
The Puck of the Week is going to go to K Groves 17. It was just a simple comment of your love and appreciation of the show, but you said, love this show and the Utah Hockey Club. Bring on the season. Couldn't agree more. We're excited that you commented and watched. So you are number 2. I'm going to eventually lose count. But you are number 2 of the nominees going to one of the final games of the season on us.
So if you want to be part of that, the roulette odds, one of the 35 or 6, you got to share that love. So yes,
the love.
K Grove 17, thank you. We appreciate you. So congratulations on receiving the Puck of the Week. But now let's jump into Chirping with Champ.
Chirping with Champ.
Dude, I love how fast we're going on this episode. We are just like, hey, no BS this time. If you saw the last episode, it was the craziest train. It's called All Aboard the UHC Express. Go back and watch that one. We were all over the place.
Don't jinx us going.
You're right. This still could go long, but man, we're flying and we're giving you the information you need.
Yeah.
Okay. Chirping with Champ. I actually have a few that are pretty good, and I want to read them. So here we go. So the first one is work with JJ Surprise. Again, sometimes I don't know why these people name themselves the way they do, but he says this. Really? You're going to name them the Utah Hockey Club? What a damn joke, Ryan Smith. Just as bad as the uniforms you picked out for the Jazz. Unfreaking believable. Not sure why he spelled believable with a B-U-L-L.
Believable.
Believable. The people of SLC in this state should be pissed since they will be paying the tab for life. Yes, the tax is happening in Salt Lake, but work with JJ Surprise. Guy, listen, it's a 1-year deal, all right? We're gonna get a mascot, we're gonna have a team, and it's gonna be okay. So JJ, here's a surprise.
Cool your horses.
Cool your jets, man. Cool your jets. It's interesting though. There actually has been some recent and a lot more chirps about the color and the logo. It's funny. While people have seen the brand, they've seen the name, they're associating with it, I feel like some people are just starting to get bored of it, right? They aren't embracing it. And obviously, JJ Surprise, you're not really thinking about it because in a year's time, you're going to get more than what you want, and more chirps on that in a second. But like, it goes to show you that some people just want to be part of the hype, but as soon as the hype kind of dies down and it's just, here's the brand, they kind of just throw it under the bus. And they're like, at first I was okay with it, but now I just don't like it. I hate it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I was on the NHL shop today and I was gonna buy something so we can do a giveaway.
Yeah.
And that was fine and dandy. And they've had more things come out like mugs and glass, cups, all of the things that they're just slowly starting to add. And for the first time today, I kind of thought to myself, I was like, see, I want swag in the sense that I want a t-shirt, the inaugural season type of stuff. I said, but some of the other things, like the fandom stuff for my office, I was like, I don't want to buy that stuff yet.
No.
So I kind of was there
share
today.
That.
Yeah.
Dude, you were JJ Surprise 2.0.
Well,
but
yeah.
I mean, people are feeling it, and I get it.
But
I know, dude. I feel great. I don't know what you're all thinking. I feel super swagged out. Utah Hockey Club. When I put this on today and I walked in to get my Liquid Death severed lime, delicious by the way.
Every episode.
I went into the the gas station, and I went up to I put it, he scanned it, put my card in, and he looked at me, kind of looked up and down, and I just gave him a.
Yep, that's what he was doing.
Because he saw all the gear and he's just like, yeah.
You know what's interesting is, let's say it is the Yetis. All right, let's just go with it. The Utah Yetis. That logo right there would have the slightest change, and it might just be the Yeti's face over the state.
I mean, it could be.
Let's say that's what it is. This
what that guy did.
Yeah. I mean, but this is still going to be just as relevant.
Yeah.
And probably still sold, to be honest.
Do you believe they're going to stick with just the blue, white, black? Or do you think they will expand the brand style with colors and the scheme? Because I loved the copper that came from the Coyotes. The copper color. It was like a rusty color almost. And I don't know if it'd work with these colors, but there was a tan one too in their scheme that I thought would work really well. And so anyway,
well, our first UTalk
that's true.
Tan color.
It was very tan.
I think would actually go pretty well with. It was a good guess on.
Yeah.
On having that before colors were established.
Yeah. So anyway, that it is interesting to think, but Sorry, JJ Surprise. Just relax. Stop believing everything we hear, and just we'll
Wait
get
it
there.
out.
We'll get there.
Wait it out.
Okay. Hey, Uncle Rico tweeted. Actually, it's at SneakyBeat22, but he's listed as Uncle Rico. He's got the picture where he's like, if you know, you know.
All right, Sneaky Beat.
Sneaky Beat, this is what he had to say. We've had the stupid name Utah Hockey Club for a month now. The season doesn't start for another 2 months. Tell me why Ryan Smith couldn't pick a proper name in time. This was that comment you made just a minute ago where, like, they're the most busy team in the NHL right now. But then you have guys like Uncle Rico, a.k.a. Sneaky Beat 22, saying, why didn't we just take the time? Because as we're sitting here waiting,
we're all waiting. They are not.
Yeah. And that's the comment I want to make. Like, you can't just, because you're just sitting around doing nothing, Uncle Rico, you can't expect that they're not doing anything, right? That's not how business works, right? So
there's a million things on their plate. Honestly, they probably have it on the not on the back burner. Someone's actively heading that up, but the team is not focused on what they're going to be called. They don't need that distraction, and not that it would be a major distraction. It's mostly fandom that really wants to know, but we've been told it's going to be there for the first season, so let's just move on from these.
Well, Kyle Joseph, aka Kaio909, doesn't agree with you, Denz. He says this about this very thing. He says, it's so weird how both Vegas and Seattle were able to launch their first season with a nickname and non-generic jerseys. First season, right? This is pathetic. It's also a crazy money grab, and I feel terrible for the Utah fans. They're going to buy these terrible jerseys, which will be outdated in 1 year.
No, they will always be a jersey. That's what retro jerseys are, going back. Anyways, here's the thing, though. Vegas and Seattle did not all of a sudden find out that they were going to be an expansion team. They had like 3 or 4 years to prepare. Exactly.
The Utah hockey team is not an expansion team. It is the Coyotes in Utah. It's a relocation. It is not expansion. When you are an expanded hockey team, you get to draft your whole team.
Yeah, the one thing they didn't have to worry about was the roster and picking. They just got to move the assets over.
But we lost a team.
Yeah.
There was no expansion that happened in the NHL that day when all news broke out and the team found out from GMBA going into them during a game or after a game and said, hey, guys, we're leaving Arizona and we're going to Utah. That's not expansion, dude. That is a team relocating. It is different. So, Kai0909, you're misguided. And there's my chirp back to you. Anyway, he does end his whole rant as people are like coming back. He says, why give Utah a professional hockey team if they didn't have a plan to be ready by year one? This is rushed and stupid. That last part of your comment is exactly why they did what they did. It is rushed, my guy. They didn't know they were getting the team until I'm blanking on commissioner's name.
Gary Bettman.
Thank you, Bettman. Bettman literally says, Morello, you suck. I'm going to cut you out of the NHL, and I'm going to give this team
even then
to Ryan Smith.
Even then, the earlier conversations, the official, like, Ryan Smith officially writes a letter and says, we officially want an expansion team. That still didn't happen till January.
Yeah.
That was in January, right? So that was just like the initial desire. Less than 90 days later,
just like, this explosion.
Yep, we're going to do it. Like that. And actually, it did start. Like, the process did start of the naming thing way before that was even news that broke, because Ryan Smith put it out there like, hey, if we were to get an expansion team, like what should it be named and called? Like the name started buzzing even before then. No one just thought that 7 months later we'd be here.
No one. Not even Ryan Smith.
Yeah. So
he even go look back at his press releases and conferences and all the
he's
things.
wide-eyed and being like,
He's like, it just happened. It just came out of nowhere. And it literally put everything into hyperdrive.
Yeah.
And guess what? In 5 months, we are going to be, from that point on, 5 months later, we're watching hockey.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. In Utah. It's not, anyway. To you, Kai, obviously you've never run a business.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as you're making it sound. But anyway, I digress. Okay, last chirp of the day actually does not really follow suit with the common ones, but I thought it was very appropriate for our audience because all of you listeners are most likely living in the great state of Utah. And here's what Utah Hockey Foam Finger had to say. It's so he tags Spencer Rail, Ride UTA, and Utah Yeti. So a bunch of people commenting, but his main chirp was at Ride UTA. It says, it's so stupid you can't utilize Ride UTA on Frontrunner for Jazz and now hockey games. Their times just don't match when games end. Please fix this, UTA. I have a story. One time, I went to a Jazz game. And
took the Frontrunner?
I took the Frontrunner, but I didn't think the game would go long. Well, it went into overtime, then it went into double overtime. So by the time I was out of that game, it was 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that train runs. No, it ended at 11:56. So I'm stuck in Salt Lake, midnight, and I'm thinking, uh-oh.
Did you Uber home?
Who am I going to call? Uber wasn't around back then.
Oh, that was that long ago.
It was that long ago. So it was like right when UTA was around. So I'm sure it's better now. But I feel Utah Hockey Foam Fingers pain. All right? Because I got stuck in Salt Lake and I had to call a friend and they came and picked me up. Anyway.
I'm sure they would do something about it. I'm sure it's gotten better, but
I'm sure it's better now.
The Jazz have been here forever, so.
But this was tweeted by Utah Hockey Foam Finger 2 weeks ago.
And tagged them.
And tagged them.
So maybe they'll take a better look at it. Maybe they'll take
care of it. But that ends or concludes the segment of Chirping with Champ. Thank you all for those who have chirped.
Champ and chirp today, man.
Yeah, dude. I had a lot of chirps today. If you have a chirp for me, chirp back. All right? But don't chirp back too hard because let's be honest. I'm just going to chirp back at you way harder. Let's jump into our next segment, the Face-Off Frenzy.
Face-Off Frenzy.
Every time you say that, I always think of Super Smash Bros. Like
Samus.
Like, yeah, like just the voice of out. Like,
yeah.
Anyways.
Game.
Yeah.
Frenzy.
Right.
Frenzy. Actually, if you notice, go play back about 20, 30 seconds. I'm the guy who does the voiceover for the segment. Comment who you think I'm trying to sound like on the Face-Off Frenzy specifically segment voiceover.
Oh, the intro to
I'll give you a hint. It's a voiceover from a video game that I grew up on. I'm 35, so think about it. Listen to it. Comment.
Ooh, got it. If you know it, and you're the first person to comment, you get the preseason tickets.
There you go.
We'll have some fun with it.
And you got to be specific.
Again, they're obstructed views. They are amazing, but they're yours if you're the first person
to comment whose voiceover or voice I'm trying to mimic from a video game from my childhood. And it's not Super Smash Bros. I'll give you that hint as well.
All right, there you go.
All right. I'll even say it. Ready? Face-Off Frenzy. Okay? There it is.
All right.
We're gonna
hold on before we go into this one. Last week's winner. I just have to point out.
Listen, Go ahead. You know what? Go ahead.
Most people agreed with Denz again. Jeez, we're killing Champ here.
Listen, I am sick of hearing people think that Denz is right and I'm wrong. All right?
We're 3-0. 2-0? How many have we?
Okay. When we were talking about this before we started this episode, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm 3 years 0." I was like, "Where did you get that number?" He's keeping a tally. I was like, "I didn't even know you were keeping a tally of who's winning."
Social media is keeping the tally.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe
we are literally asking you to vote.
We're basing it off of comments and how you're sharing and answering, like who won or who do you think or what do you think of this question. So today's question actually poses 4 different players in the question.
Yep.
So here's the question. Listen to it because we want you to comment who you think. Okay, you ready? Here is the face-off frenzy question. Which one of these young players will be key to the success in the UHC's inaugural season? First player, Logan Cooley, 20 years old. Second, Dylan Guenther, 21. Matthias Maccelli, 23, or Josh Doan, 22. So there's your question. Which one of these young players will be key to the success in the Utah Hockey Club's inaugural season from a young perspective? Obviously, you got guys like Clayton Keller, Lawson Krause. You got these new defenders that have come in. They obviously have been playing for a long time. Some of them have playoff and even Stanley Cup
but this is young
experience.
players, like rookies.
But the young players, these guys that are for sure on the roster, playing on the Utah Hockey Club in their inaugural season, of these 4 players, who will be key to their success?
So I'm going to choose one. Champ's going to choose one.
You can decide if you agree with us, or you can share
Or is it
in
someone
comment. Oh yeah, even if it's not in this 4, who do you think? But of these 4, play along. Who do you think? Okay, you want me to go first?
Let's do it.
I'll go first. Okay, so Guenther is who I'm suggesting. Dylan Guenther. Here's why. Okay, I believe he has had some amazing progress in the last little bit. It hasn't. He's obviously played just a couple seasons, but he's really come to. I believe he has an opportunity for a big breakout season. Okay, he's 21 years old, and really he's made an impact. So I want to share this. They called him up from the AHL, from the Tucson Roadrunners on January 6th. Okay, and he was ready to play. He scored 18 goals and 35 points in 45 games. Okay, that's a point a game almost. From that time, Guenther was recalled through to the end of the season in 2023. Only Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz had more points for Arizona. Now the Utah Hockey Club. So, one final thing I want to say about why Dylan. What Coach Andre Tourigny says. He says, "I often refer to players as an if player or a when player. With an if player, it depends on if he gets faster, if he gets stronger, if. With a when player, it's just a matter of time." Dylan Guenther is a when player. I love that, Coach. Thank you for helping me solidify the decision that of the young players outlined, Dylan is the guy because he's a when player. He's reached that point where he's made an impact already, and now he's ready to increase that opportunity. 18 goals in the 2023 season, 17 assists, 35 points. He's only going to go up. And I believe that this 6'2", 175-pound guy from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, my second home, you, my friend, are going to be a key piece to the success of the Utah Hockey Club. Mic drop.
Mic drop. See, the reason why this question doesn't feel as much as of a debate for this episode.
I don't like how you started. Restart.
It's because...
Restart. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I'm going to debate my side of things. But here's the thing. this is one of those things that like we need all of these guys to step up.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have cut you off. I like that thought.
So, but I'm going to go with a different person. I'm going to go with Cooley.
Dude, I knew you were going to go with Cooley. Absolutely knew it. As soon as I asked this question and we put it in the outline, I was like, he's going to pick Logan Cooley. And here he is, picking Logan Cooley.
Here's why. And I just follow the data.
Oh, okay.
I'm following Coach.
We both took the Gallup test, and he's the left brain analyzer, and I'm the creative that doesn't look at numbers, apparently.
Actually, I think it was the opposite.
Maybe it was the opposite.
Anyways, here's the thing. I think Tourigny actually answered this debate already.
Yeah, he did. I just shared it with you.
No, but...
Oh, Kobe. Rest in peace.
No, I'm going to share with you. He answered this already by going all in on having Cooley lace up every single game of last season. Not coming from the AHL.
Okay.
Right?
Well.
So, I like Guenther.
Yeah.
But Logan Cooley, I believe they've already shown 44 points last year. Now he played all season. If you do points per game, it's not as strong as Guenther. But there's something that I think was key that Coach said during the season last year. I'm going to find this quote. He says, so this was after realizing that even though they laced him up for every single game, during the beginning of the season, there were ups and downs. It was his rookie season, sure, right? But there was so much potential in what he was working with that they kept him going, right? This is what he said. He said, it showed, this is Andre, he said, it showed he earned it, and that's what it shows. We said at training camp he has earned the right to play in those situations. He has the talent, but we don't want to give him the opportunity. We want him to earn it. And now he can be proud of himself because he earned it. Nobody gave it to him. He earned it. In the last week especially, I think he played the best defense of his life. And even Cooley, he said, in my first year in the league, obviously there's going to be ups and downs. You can just try to stay positive. And at the end, he said, I feel pretty good, and I'm now playing with confidence. So, obviously, being the rookie last year, playing in all the games, they're going all in on him. I think he's going to be key. He also got to play on first line last year with Schultz and with Keller. And they did that for a time to really help him develop and focus. So I think they're not putting all their eggs in one basket, but they're putting a lot of emphasis on Cooley stepping up as a key player for his second year. A lot of the kinks got worked out in his first year, and that's why I think Cooley's going to have one of the most incredible years of his hockey career thus far, which is very young, but he already got to have the wiggle rooms out on his rookie league season in Arizona. He gets now to come to Utah and do it again and reset. He almost gets to reset stats for himself with the new team, which is kind of fun. It's an opportunity to really, really step it up.
If you remember, go back into episode 11 of our podcast, and we shared the projected lines for the Utah Hockey Club in its inaugural season. And on line 2, Logan Cooley at center and Dylan Guenther at right wing. And so these two young guys that both of us have mentioned are on line 2 playing together. Yeah. Like they're used to playing together.
Projected line 2.
Right. Projected. It could change. With Lawson Krause, captain. So I am interested to see who has kind of a breakout year. I do believe Dylan has a great opportunity to make a bigger impact. But I do agree with you that Logan had obviously this full year under his belt, which could lead to greater success. So I'm not in complete disagreement with you.
Same here.
So that's an opportunity. But Josh Doan and Matthias Maccelli are on third line together, potentially with Nick. So not Schmaltz, but Jugstead. There's so many weird names. Hockey. You get a lot of names in hockey. But, that'll be interesting. So let us know. Who do you think? Is it Dylan? Is it Logan? Or do you believe it's Josh Doan or even Matthias? Before when I was thinking about it, Matthias also came to my mind because he's had some really solid seasons, and he's been progressing every year. We should see over. My guess is over 50 points for him.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these guys need to be up in that range.
What did Clayton Keller have
Last year? I don't remember the number off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure it was in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
It was high.
Yeah.
Clayton Keller is one of the best in the league right now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't put him up for captain.
Moving on.
Moving on. And actually, yes, we should move on now. But again, let us know. Comment who you think is the young key player that's going to help the team really establish themselves. Okay, let's move into the final episode.
Segment.
The final segment of the show, In Dishing with Denz.
Let's do it.
Dishing with Denz.
All right. So we're going to do a deep dive conversation on one of our players. But before we do so, I just wanted to point out earlier in the off season, we had a crazy ton of cap space available and, all of that, obviously not all of it, but a lot of it got used up. We got things figured out. And so people are probably wondering, like, where the heck are we at right now with everything? Trades coming in. What are people being paid? And so anyways, this is from Spot Track.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways, just some interesting stats on it. We're around 78 million. So we have just shy of 10 million in cap space heading into the season still. And things can change, throughout the season. But the biggest change, and this is what I want to lead in with, which is also going to be our spotlight for Dishing with Denz, is Sergachev.
Yeah. Mikhail
Sergachev is the highest paid player on this team. That he took up the biggest chunk of coming in. It was probably, I would argue, the biggest off-season move of the NHL. Not for Utah Hockey Club alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was one of the craziest, biggest moves in the NHL is to take Sergachev at a $8.5 million annual salary, pull it into the Utah Hockey Club. Now, his contract, he doesn't become a free agent till, I read it earlier. It's not in front of me. I think it's 2031.
Yeah, he has 8 years on his contract, folks.
Yeah.
Sergachev will be a household name in Utah.
Yeah, and that's really, really exciting. Obviously, two-time Tampa Bay Lightning champion, Stanley Cup champion.
There's that veteran experience I talked about.
And that's the thing is, like, he's going to continue to be a veteran player, pulling it in, shoring up the defense. Actually, I want to play this real fast, just a few things.
Real fast.
Here we go. Okay, so this is just outlining how well he can move into position from the blue line and find a shot.
Do you see that top cheese? He just sliced the goalies and the D.
Do you notice in these highlights I've chosen to show who it's against?
Teams that we think are going to be rivals of the now Utah Hockey Club.
The Avs, and here is Dallas. Anyways,
that's Dallas.
So the anchor of defense is going to be Sergachev, and even Coach even talked about it. He said, this is from one of his interviews or something, but he said, Sergachev, no doubt, he is our number one defenseman. Yeah. At 100%. that price tag coming in, you better have hoped he was your number one.
It's not about the money. Actually, it is all about the money.
But let's dive into a little bit of his history. The one thing I want to start with is that Sergachev didn't start playing till he was 9 years old.
So all you chirpers out there who think that you have to be playing when you're in diapers, you're wrong. Okay? People can choose when they start to play a dang sport.
But here's the
Let us live our lives. End of chirp. Continue.
Hold on. I had a dream.
Oh, really?
And you know how my dreams go.
Oh, jeez.
When
You don't want to share a room with this guy. He and I do business trips. Sometimes we share a room.
Anyways,
Let's not get into that.
but here's the thing.
Walking in the dark and all that crap. Just sleep, man. Just sleep. All right?
Anyways.
I actually would like my own room at the next trade show.
So here's the deal. He is a naturally born talent. And the reason I say that is because of the way he picked up the sport. At 9 years old, he even says this. He wasn't actually interested in hockey. Like, even as he got started, he didn't
Isn't that odd?
He didn't like it that much, actually. Even after starting, he was a swimmer in Russia. And here's the thing, is that literally just 9 years later, he is drafted into the NHL.
That is quite literally the best thing ever.
It's
That's what makes hockey so cool.
literally at 9 years old, decides to get started. 9 years later, at
You get the
18
training
years old.
and the things you need to make it as a professional player. That's insane. My son is 10.
Yeah.
I could start Corver up right now, and he could be in the NHL
Yeah.
in 8 years. That's what you're telling me?
I mean, he's got to
Corver,
do the work.
suit up.
No, you don't want to pay for that.
No, you're right. He's absolutely right.
Anyways, so I just find it fascinating. One of the things,
Super cool.
I've tried to click this link 3 times and it's not loading. I don't know if it's not going to happen. There's an ad. Anyways, I'll move on from it. But this is interesting. So what happened to him last year? Let's dive into this, because someone might look at stats and be like, he didn't have a great year last year.
You look at 2022 to 2023. The guy had 10 goals, 54 assists. Okay. Remember, he's a defender. Okay. So you don't get like, it's not like you're shooting goals all the time, right? But the assist total is amazing, right? But then you get to the 23-24 season with this guy, and he had 2 goals and 17 assists. Okay. So it declined by a lot. And that was in 34 games played. So the question is, why didn't he play the rest of the games? Well, in one of his games, his leg got hurt, and not just hurt, people. He broke his tibia and his fibula. All right. So he was out for 80 plus days, and he came back and he helped the Lightning win the Stanley Cup. Or is the playoffs? No, they didn't.
They didn't.
No. Sorry.
Not this last season.
Sorry,
Yeah.
not this last season. But he helped in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So broke his leg. Now, you may ask yourselves, well, if he broke his leg, isn't he going to be bad? So my daughter, she was jumping on the trampoline a few years back, snapped her leg, broke her leg right below her kneecap. Just jumping on a trampoline. Trampolines are dangerous. But after it healed, we asked the doctor, hey, doc, is it a concern that she'll re-break it? And the doctor said, actually, once the bone heals, it heals stronger than before. So, you ask me, is Sergachev going to have an off year? I think he's going to have one of the best years of his career. He's got a stronger leg now. I think there's a rod in there, actually. So he's freaking bionic man over here. And he is going to shine for the Utah Hockey Club. It's super exciting. I don't know. I might get a Sergachev jersey. Sue me.
I mean, he knows.
If I know that he's going to be there for 8 years too. That's always the question. How long will a player last on a team?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the
Right.
contract that we traded, he's, 6 years left on that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, this article finally loaded, so I wanted to read this. So, because I found it funny. So, this is when Sergachev started playing. He said, "I didn't really like it at the beginning," he said. I just wanted to sit in the penalty box or lie down on the ice. I wasn't really into it, but it eventually grew on me."
Nice.
Well, wanting to be in the penalty box as a defender, and that makes sense. And he's obviously served some. A couple years ago, I saw this as I was looking stuff up about just him being in the box, but against I think it was the Predators. I don't remember the name, but he did a cross check that he got fined for.
Oh, yeah.
And anyway, so he had to pay the fine. And at first, I read it as a $24,000 fine, and I was like, "Oh wow,
That's pretty hefty."
For doing a bad hit." Then I saw the .00. It was only $2,400. And everyone's comments were like, "This is absolutely nothing and means nothing. Why are they even having a fine at this point to someone who's pulling in millions of dollars a year?" Anyways, I just thought it was funny.
Fines are weird to me. I don't understand fines sometimes.
Well, isn't the place is just like, "Hey, we want to deter you from doing that"? Then the deterrent should kind of hurt, right?
Yes, but I don't know.
But this is hockey.
It's
Yeah.
hockey. It's
Anyways.
hockey. You know what's interesting, though, about Mikhail Sergachev as well? Ranked in the 96th percentile in average shot speed and 92nd percentile in top shot speed. When you're in a percentile, Denz and I have kids, so when we take our kids to the doctor, they say, "Hey, your kid has a head circumference in the 80th percentile. That means my kid has a big head." So if Sergachev is ranked in the 96th percentile in average shot speed and top shot speed, that means he's one of the best. He's one of the outliers, the guys who literally have one of the speediest and top shots in the league.
Yeah, you
So-
can't see that puck coming in
You
from the
can't.
blue line.
I mean, if you saw those clips just a second ago,
I mean, they were slow-mo.
but
They had
but
to be
it's
slowed
coming.
down.
Look at his stick, dude. You
I
see
know.
his stick? It's like
Yeah.
just like bending like crazy. Super flex.
Maybe we need to get you back on defense when we're in D
Dude,
League.
I had one of my best seasons as a defender.
I know.
I was scoring more than I do now as a center.
Yeah.
I miss those days, scoring all the time. Now I just give the puck to everybody else. I want to be a wing tomorrow. Can I be a wing tomorrow?
I'll be
No,
center.
we need to be. 2 of our 3 centers are out. So,
Anyways, so we're gonna wrap this up, but just last couple notes about Sergachev is just like how he found out. I just want to close with this. How he found out. He said-
about coming to Utah?
about being traded. He's like, it like hit him out of the blue. He's like, I did not think that was coming. He's like, I was taking my garbage out when I got the phone call. I was telling my wife earlier, I was just like, can you imagine just that? I mean, they know that that's the career they're in, right? You're always on a potential trade for a deal, right?
Unfortunately, you are technically a business asset,
Yeah.
which sounds really weird saying it out loud.
So you imagine just like, hey, I'm taking my trash out to the curb, and literally picks up the phone. He's like, hey, I know you're in the sunshine state of Florida, and you probably love it here. Well, we're going to send you to Utah.
We're going to send you to the mountains where there's
We're
the
trading
best snow
you.
on earth.
Yeah. Anyways.
And it's
but-
nothing like Florida.
But go ahead and look up some of the interviews of his reaction. He's super excited to bring another Stanley Cup
Can you imagine?
to Utah.
Can you?
And he wants to be a part of it. And, just the attitude moving into any of this kind of situation and coming from like the Arizona Coyotes, I don't know, maybe his attitude wouldn't have been as strong if he was being traded to Arizona. And
I think the hype around Utah has made the small market Utah Hockey Club feel big market.
Yeah.
And that's important. Like, we don't have that with the Jazz. Nobody wants to play for the Jazz because of that very reason. They say you're a small market. Nobody likes living there. Utah Hockey Club, it's a different story. They came from a bad situation in a place that did not do them well.
Yeah.
And so Utah looks like this golden pony that's just like, hey, let's hop on that horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's Sergachev for you. We're super excited to see him throughout the season, over the many games that we're going to go watch him play. The last thing I would ever hope for is if it was like an Aaron Rodgers situation.
Why would you knock on wood, you silly son of a biscuit?
Could you imagine? No, I don't want to imagine.
Don't even imagine.
But such a big move.
Man,
and the Jets.
I can't believe you said that out loud in
sorry,
the universe.
But it just
if
the
you don't know,
came to my mind.
If you don't know the story, Aaron Rodgers been a long-time Packer, and then he gets traded to the Jets, and there's all this hype, like Mikhail Sergachev being the number one defenseman for the Utah Hockey Club, and he steps on the field, and 3 plays later tears his ACL. It literally ruptures. It blows up. You can see it. And he's out the whole season. Doesn't even get to play the one season that he's supposed to be great.
You're right. I shouldn't have said anything. It just literally came to my mind.
After we just said he broke his leg? Come on.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to apologize for my friend Denz. That was... I am not just a little stitious. I am superstitious. You better knock on wood, dude.
Okay. Well, there we go.
Where's the rabbit's foot? Criminy.
Sorry. Just... That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
And
Denz will never speak words like that again.
Next time I'll just have a thought and pass it on by.
Good.
Anyways, that is a wrap.
That concludes our show.
That is a wrap of today's episode. Again, please follow. Please share the love. We're going to be sending more out. Again, as a quick reminder, if you've made it this far, two ways to win tickets to a gub. A game.
What's a gub?
I was going to say the hockey club game.
Oh.
Yeah. So, 2 ways you can win. What source is
what
that
voice am I trying to mimic from what video game?
That's
my
one.
childhood.
And that's going to be announced on next episode. So, participate. And then the other one is, again, share the love. Share the episode on your social media threads when it comes out. Obviously, as you're watching it. As you share the love, we're going to look at all of that. Those who share the love, you get entered in to be one of the nominees that we're going to pick to send you and a special someone to one of the final games of the Utah Hockey Club season on us. So that's it. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of day or night, whatever it is for you.
So long, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Peace out.